Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the first ever Swank Tank. I'm your host, Ryan Swankowski. You may be wondering, Ryan, why are you doing this? What is this setup exactly? I thought you already had a show. I'm going to walk you through all that stuff. Let's take a quick preview of what we're doing here today. Why the Swank Tank? Why am I doing this? AFC Divisional game analysis. We're here for all of that. The NFC Divisional game analysis. Great games all around from this past weekend. Championship game preview and discussion. We got Bills, Chiefs. We got Commanders, Eagles coming at you. And Swank Bank. Those are my best bets. So we'll get to that as well. Appreciate everybody tuning in. So, as most of you know, I had the show Stop the BS with Connor Burns. Great, one of my best friends, lifelong, lifetime. Hopefully, you're watching out there. Hope you're going to watch this later. And I wanted to shake it up and do something different. There's a lot of sports podcasts out there in today's world. And I thought with TikTok going down for a day, I was like, you know what? Maybe this is the time to jump ship and do something new. So that is why I'm here today and starting the Swank Tank is because I want this to be more than just a podcast. Yes, I want you to be able to listen to me and the show and the guests I bring on in the future on Spotify and on your free time and just listen on YouTube or whatever you want to do with it. I also want to create a virtual world, an interactive world where you can watch and listen and interact with me and see the graphics I make behind the scenes and all of those good things that go more into of a show comparative to a podcast. That is why I have started the show. Don't mind my voice. It's still coming back to me. It's a little raspy, but we're going to get it checked out. But we're here today anyways. That's okay. I want it to be more interactive, like I said, virtual. I want you to join in and be part of this experience rather than just an audio version with a mic. You give anybody a mic, people can do anything. You give them, you know, a sheet to design, you give them a script to design, you give them graphics to make. It's a different story. You want to make it your own. So this is why I'm here today. Creative freedom as well. Big part of this show moving forward that I'm super excited about. The logo I created, again, all the slides I've created. If you're watching live, great. I'm hoping to start building this thing from the ground up, but it'll be posted live on YouTube. We'll have on Spotify after. But creative freedom is such a pivotal part of this show for me. Also, guests in the future. I want Connor Burns to be my first guest on here. We're going to start working towards that. Maybe our Super Bowl episode, which we'll have here in a little bit, probably next week or the week after. We will have a guest on. Hopefully, Connor will come on for that. And I understand this is not the highest quality tech. I don't got graphics here, producer in my ear. I got an AirPod in my ear. That's okay too. We are balling on a budget. We're a college student balling on a budget. Just wanting to start something new, something fresh, something unique. So that is why we were here. And just want to say thank you for all the Stop the BS listeners out there that are now transferring over here. I appreciate it. Connor and I had an awesome 4 years doing that show. It was so fun. Had a bunch of great segments, a great time. This is something I'm super passionate about, and I'm excited to share it with you. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining the Swank Tank. And all love to Connor, all love to Stop the BS, all love to everybody that tuned into that as well. Listening on TikTok or watching, appreciate you. Watching on live on YouTube, appreciate you as well. All right. You know what we've got to do? We're going to change formats here real quick. Let's do it. Oh, man. Let me take a quick sip of water. It's going to be painful. All right, let's get into it. Here's the stat sheet from last weekend's game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans. As you can see, the Houston Texans did not pull out a victory. Texans score 14 points with a safety being scored in the last minute. And the Chiefs score 23 points. Chiefs win 23-14, 9 points. They cover. They win the ball game. Going down the stat sheet, you can see it on your screen if you're watching live here. CJ Stroud, 19 of 28, 245. No picks, no touchdowns. Joe Mixon, 18 carries, 88 yards, 1 touchdown. Nico Collins, 5 receptions for 81 yards. On the flip side, Patrick Mahomes, 16 of 25 for 177 and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt, 8 carries, 44 yards. I will add an efficient 8 carries for 44 yards, especially in the second half from Kareem Hunt. 1 touchdown added on. Travis Kelce, we're going to get to him here in a sec, but 7 receptions for 117 yards and 1 touchdown. All right, let's break it down. Obviously, the Chiefs were the winners of this ball game, but The Texans completely outplayed the Chiefs from start to finish. You know what? I take that back. They outplayed the Chiefs from the second play of the game, basically to finish. Opening kickoff, taking, I don't even know how many yards it was, down to the Houston 20, flag thrown in at the end. Chris Boyd throwing his helmet. He's shoving the coach, a special teams coach on the sideline. I mean, it was the craziest 30-second start to a playoff game you could really imagine. Outside of Devin Hester's Super Bowl, I don't think anything will ever top that. But you have the crazy kickoff. You got the emotions flying on the Texans sideline already. You get the flag coming in. My first reaction was, here we go. As in, is this game already not over? But is this how the game's going to be all game? Explosive play, flag thrown, losing temper. I thought excuse me for saying we, Texan fan here, but I thought the Texans were in for a bit of a treat right on that starting drive. Texans defense held strong. They played well, held the Chiefs offense there to a field goal. But looking at the total stats here, Texans 336 total yards compared to the 212 from the Kansas City Chiefs. Texans rush yards 149 total. Kansas City Chiefs 50 flat. Okay. Texans, no turnovers, but a missed extra point and 2 missed field goals. Miami Fairbairn need to have a conversation. The missed extra point, you go down in the third quarter. I know I'm jumping all over the place here, but third quarter, opening drive, one of the best drives in Texans history I've ever seen. And you cap it off with a missed extra point. Can't happen. It can't happen in the regular season. It can't happen against the Chiefs. It can't happen in the playoffs. It can't happen against the Chiefs in the playoffs. All four. It can't happen. It should not happen. It cannot happen. You tack in a really long field goal that wasn't good from the start. I mean, it was off the leg. It was wrong. Just looked bad. Dead. Duck. Terrible. Blocked field goal at the end of the game. Can't have it. And I don't care if the blocked field goal is not his fault. Very poor performance all around from the Houston Texans special teams that all season they've relied on. They've had great special teams moments. Fairbairn against the Bills hitting the game winner. They've thrived in the special teams department all year long. And when it mattered most, they didn't. That was a big takeaway from this game that wasn't fully talked about. Texans special teams failures was a big part of it. But I mean, they outgained them by over 100 yards. Rush yards, had 100 more rush yards than the Chiefs did. If I would have given you these stats that the Texans, had 100 more rush yards, over 100 more total yards, and did not turn the ball over, I think some of you would say the Texans win the game. Would you not? I think some of you would. Now let's talk about the refs. How much of a factor were the refs in this game? Some of you may say, Swank, stop making excuses for teams. Some of you may say it was blatant and it's inexcusable. I am more for that part than the first part. The Chiefs are going to get the calls that they want. I mean, the NFL fans have known this. NFL analysts have known this. They're going to get the calls that they want. But to an extent, it's too far. You have a third down, first quarter. Mahomes throws a duck under pressure, incomplete, roughing the passer, Will Anderson. I understand it was close to the helmet. I understand there's a little something there. That to start off the game, basically, inexcusable. Can't call that. Later in the game, I mean, you got Mahomes scrambling, stopping. He won't go down. Two Texans collide with each other. Mahomes, maybe even gets nicked in the head. Nicked in the head. The Texans players bump each other's heads more than they bump Mahomes' head. And there go 15 yards, extending the drive yet again, leads to more points. I mean, it was bad. It was bad. I'm not blaming the refs for the loss for the Houston Texans. I am saying they definitely helped assist the Chiefs win. That's not why they won. The Chiefs won because they didn't turn the ball over. They didn't make silly mistakes. They're the Kansas City Chiefs. They won't do that in the playoffs. But the refs overall absolutely did give the Chiefs calls that extended drives and let them keep going and made this game different than what it should have been. And so, not trying to take anything away from the Chiefs, not trying to give an out for the Texans. I will say that the refs did factor into this game in a big way and in a negative way towards the Texans. So, the Chiefs deserve the win, but NFL officiating, especially when you got Aikman in the booth and Buck in the booth going, oh, that's a bad call. They're saying it to the American people that that shouldn't have been called. This is bad. What are we doing? When your own game announcers are saying that stuff, you have to really reflect and look back on a game that was called like that. And so I'm hoping the NFL goes and looks at it. Inexcusable refereeing in this game. I hope something gets changed. It probably won't. I understand the Chiefs will get the calls they get. Something needs to change because it was a disaster. Just a disaster. Moving over to the next slide here. Got plenty to talk about. Benjamin Solak. Love Ben Solak, by the way, at ESPN. Go give him a follow. Quick water here. The Texans are the first team to outgain their opponent by 100 plus yards, not turn the ball over. I mean, not turn the ball over, air quotes, two missed field goals. I consider that basically a turnover. And lose a postseason game. Previous such teams were 49-0 in the playoffs. Make it 49-1. Make it 49-1. I had to share this stat with you. I mean, I absolutely had to. This is unbelievable. Next slide. Just next slide. This is something I really want to get into. If you don't know who Teddy Bruschi is, former Patriots player, works for ESPN, does the ESPN Sunday morning stuff, NFL Countdown. Look at this quote. I don't think the Houston Texans understand how to win a game like this. Teddy Bruschi. I don't even know where to start, except I do because I got notes in front of me. The audience, what do you make of this? He goes on to add, by the way, I didn't put this in the graphic, goes on to add, there's a, quote, big difference in class between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans. If you're listening to this, watching to this, what is your reaction? I want you to think. If you're listening to this later and driving, if you're watching it live, just think out loud with me. Think in your head, whatever you want to do. What is your reaction to this quote? I don't think the Houston Texans understand how to win a game like this. Is he right? Is he right? Houston Texans have never made the AFC Championship. Houston Texans have never won a playoff game on the road. Does this relate? Is this what Bruschi is saying? To me, partially, but I think he's getting at something more here. And I think it's not completely correct. Yes, the Kansas City Chiefs have one of the best home field advantages in football. They have already a top 10 coach all the time. They already have a top 3 quarterback all the time in Patrick Mahomes. They have an unbelievable fan base. They have, come January, come playoff time, the weather behind them that they're used to. They got it all going on. They got back-to-back Super Bowl rings. They got everything. But to say the Texans don't understand how to win a game like this, just because they haven't doesn't mean they can't. And I'm quoting Josh Pate there, my inspiration for the show. Just because they have it doesn't mean they can't. I do think Houston understands how to win a game like this. I think the execution wasn't quite there. Refs made some bad calls. Take that out of the picture. You're missing extra points. You're missing field goals. You're getting flagged for things you shouldn't be getting flagged for. And by that, I mean to start the game off on the kickoff. They understand what goes into this game. In the presser, D'Amico Ryan states, we knew it was going to be us versus everybody. And when I mean everybody, I mean everybody. He's referring to the refs. He's referring to the outside noise. He's referring to everything. They understood what it would take to win this game. They did not execute the way they wanted to win this game. So I understand, Bruschi, kind of what you're going for. I think you're a little bit delusional. And to say that there's a big difference in class, that's to me is ridiculous. Just because the Chiefs have back-to-back rings doesn't make them more classful. Air quotes, is that even a word? It's not a word, but I'm going to use it. because I don't think there's a big difference in class. These are two well-respected organizations. One, the Kansas City Chiefs, way more recent success, excuse me, more history, more of a quote dedicated fan base, more of a home field advantage. I get that. But when you talk about class, you talk about off field issues, you talk about personnel, you talk about on field, you talk about respect, sportsmanship, how the players carry themselves. There's not a big difference in class here to me. Both these teams are respected, both these teams are well coached. I think both these teams, will be in the top or in the playoff picture in the AFC for years and years to still come. I don't think there's a big difference in class. There may be a difference in roster, in talent, in execution of coaching. But to say there's a difference in class and to say that they don't know how to understand to win a game like this, to me, is outrageous. And that's where I'll leave that. I think he's wrong. I understand what he's getting at. I think he's wrong for all the reasons I just listed. Let's move on. Is the Chiefs dynasty even close to ending, by the way? Let's see. Do I have one more slide here? I don't. That's talking about the Ravens next. Is the Chiefs dynasty even close to ending? I mean, back-to-back Super Bowl champions, like I mentioned. 7th straight AFC Championship appearance against the Bills. We're going to preview that here towards the end of the show. Here's the list of the since 2019 who they played. 2018 season, 2019 game. Patriots, Titans, Bills, Bengals, Ravens, now Bills. He's 4-2 in these games. Obviously, when the Bengals beat them 3 years ago, and when Brady beat them in 2019, which was what? Do you guys remember that game? That was a wild game. Is the Chiefs dynasty close to ending? I mean, the answer is no. You're all saying no. If you're listening, if you're watching, you're going to say no. It's nowhere close to ending. And another note to this is that playoff Kelsey came to play. Let's go back to the stat sheet real quick. 7 receptions, 117 yards, 1 touchdown. This is the Kelsey everybody knows. I'm not going to say it's that everybody loves. I don't love him. I'm sure a lot of people do. But he's damn talented. He's so damn talented. And come playoff time, there's a switch that he just gets turned in his brain, in Andy Reid's brain, in Patrick Mahomes' brain that is different. He's already cemented as one of the best tight ends in NFL history. In the playoffs, he is a different breed, and he worked the Texans this game. Absolutely worked them. He got whatever he wanted. He was even open on a bunch of plays that Mahomes couldn't find him. Worked them. This was the playoff Kelsey that everybody knew. This is the playoff Kelsey I was scared of to see play against the Texans. Mahomes making unbelievable plays after unbelievable plays. The touchdown to Kelsey, half his body is in the air, almost on the ground. Throws a laser beam, touchdown. Those are things you just can't control. That is a GOAT play. There's a GOAT play by both of them, respectfully in their positions. Could be argued as the GOATs already. Tom Brady's still the GOAT. Kelsey, is he the GOAT at tight ends? He probably is. So this was a damn good game, and the Chiefs deserved to win it. And I thought Stroud played well and played with poise. I thought the run game was there at times for Houston, but not enough. I thought they played clean enough. Turnover-wise, for me, it was special teams that really did them in, and the inability to not get that yellow flag thrown. Playoff Mahomes, playoff Andy Reid, basically unbeatable. Texans will be back. Great game, and great teams know how to close out games, and the Chiefs did just that. Did just that. Go down, get the field goal, block the field goal. They just know how to win. They know how to win. So that's it for that game. What a hell of a game, hell of a season for the Texans. Chiefs move on. Let me fast forward here through a few slides. All right. Next game up. Quick sip of water here. Appreciate everybody tuning in, watching, listening. Buffalo Bills took on the Baltimore Ravens last Sunday. Ravens 25, Bills 27. Josh Allen meets Patrick Mahomes yet again in the playoffs. Can he get his win? Can he do it? We'll talk about that here soon in the show. Lamar Jackson, 18-25, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Derrick Henry, 16 carries, 84 yards, 1 touchdown. Isaiah Likely, 4 receptions, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Buffalo, Josh Allen. Not the stats you would think if I told you Buffalo were to win this game. 16 to 22, 127, 2 rushing touchdowns. James Cook, 17 carries, 67 yards. Khalil Shakir, 6 receptions, 67 yards. Buffalo. I mean, do you want me to talk about Mark Andrews from the get-go? His drop? I'm getting there. I'll get there, Ravens fans. I'll get there. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that it happened. But man, I mean, let's just get into it. Turnovers won the game for the Bills. That is the headline. That is the statement. That is why did Buffalo win? I could point to one thing, and it's the turnover margin. 3 turnovers to 0. You get Buffalo 3 turnovers to 0. You know who's going to win the game. You would. If I told you Sunday morning, Buffalo will get 3 turnovers. They'll cause 3 turnovers. The Ravens defense will have 0. You know who will win this game. That's how close this game was going to be. That's how close the score was. 3 turnovers to 0 tells you the whole game. Everything that you needed to know. And Lamar still almost came back and won. Despite the drop. By the way, the Bills never lost a game at home this year. Thought that was quite fascinating. 10-0. And earlier this year, I tweeted out, if you're not following my Twitter, Ryan underscore Swankowski, would appreciate a follow. Ryan Dash Swankowski, whatever it is. To me, Buffalo is the hardest place to play in the NFL. You might say it's Arrowhead. You might say it's Lambeau. You might say other places. Maybe it was the old Seattle Legion of Boom. To me, Buffalo is the hardest place to play, especially given playoff time due to their weather. Those fans love the Buffalo Bills more than I think life itself. And they want nothing more than a Super Bowl ring on their finger. They want it bad. And 10-0 on the season at home, good for those fans. Good for them. And to go out here in, a tough environment against a very, very tough defense team, one of the best teams in the NFL all year, and to win like this, damn good win for the Buffalo Bills. 10-0 at home. Mind-boggling, really. Let's talk about Lamar Jackson. Playoff record moves to 3-5. I got a nice little stat sheet for you. Go ahead and take a look. Lamar Jackson playoff stats. 8 games played. 1,753 pass yards total. 641 rush yards. 13 total touchdowns. 7 interceptions. If you're listening, I want you to take that in. If you're watching, take a look. What's your thoughts here when you see this? Could be nothing. Could be something. Could be Lamar plays well enough to win. It could be 7 interceptions is too many in 8 games. I wanted to throw this up there. I wanted for you to see the numbers in front of you. These are Lamar Jackson's numbers. He moves to 3-5. All 3 wins come in the wild card round. He's never made it past the divisional round. Lamar Jackson. Man, he's the guy. He's the clear-cut guy. He's an MVP player. He played lights out this year. He's an MVP player this year. He's been an MVP caliber player for years. Also, misspoke there. They beat the Texans last year to go to the AFC Championship. So I've misspoken. But 3-5. Nonetheless, Lamar Jackson is the clear-cut best player on this team. He may be he is one of the best players in the NFL. He might be the best player in the NFL. But to be 3-5 with teams like this that he's had brings up debate, brings up controversy. And I'm not saying this loss, I'm going to go back here now, to the Bills is on him. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I mean, 254, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick is respectable. Better than respectable, given the environment. But what will his legacy come down to? Because every year it seems like he can't get there. Is it because it's Mahomes? This year it wasn't. You could play the Mahomes card with a bunch of other teams saying he has to go through him to get there. This year he didn't. Not yet. Not yet. Josh Allen said, not so fast, Lamar. Not so fast. And I think he is the best player in the NFL. He's up there. He's top 5. Easily. But when it comes to playoffs, sometimes he just can't quite get it done. He can't quite get there. And that's the narrative with him right now, which is sad because he's a damn good player, but he just can't get it there yet. Will he next year? Maybe. But the hype on the Ravens this year was for real. I had people telling me months ago, Swank, I have them going to my Super Bowl. I told them, I don't. Not because it's Mahomes on the side of the ball or Mahomes in the AFC, but it's because Lamar Jackson hasn't shown that he can do it for me yet. That doesn't mean he never will. But for me, right now, he just can't right now. Next year he may, and it may change. But I thought I would see the same result I've seen in previous years from him, and he played well. And it's sad that he lost, but this is what it's come down to right now for his narrative. He can't quite do it, and it can change, but he can't quite do it yet. Cannot quite do it. Mark Andrews dropped 2-point conversion to tie the game at the very end. I mean, I'll show you the photo. Close your eyes, Ravens fans. One photo sums it up. I mean, that's the game. That's the game. You know what else is the game? Like I already mentioned, 3 turnovers. It's also a big part of the game as well. Can't happen. And one of them was from Mark Andrews. Discussions will be had about him all offseason. All offseason long. Can't believe it. Lamar Jackson leads a filthy drive, 3 or 4 minutes to play. Goes down there. Everybody thinks they're going to tie the game up. Isaiah Likely, it's a great catch at the end of the game. Can't get it done. Drop ball by Mark Andrews. Ravens, after the touchdown on the first drive, interception. Next drive, fumble. Back-to-back drives with the turnover after going down there and getting a touchdown to start. I would say it can't happen. They almost rebounded from it. Can't happen. Major impact on this game. Touchdown, turnover, complete momentum shift. On the road, can't be turning the ball over. I mean, it's plain and simple. Lamar's doing his thing, scrambling, can't turn the ball over. You just can't do it 3 times. That's the story of the game. Ravens had 416 total yards, 273 yards for the Bills. Back to back, we see games where the losing team is out yarding, if you will, the team that won. And this one was big. 416 to 273. I mean, that's almost a 150-yard difference. Bills still get it done. Bills had 1 penalty for 10 yards this game. 1 penalty for 10 yards. Clean football. Story of the game. Clean football, story of the game for the Buffalo Bills. Allen being mobile like he does, using those legs to get those 2 rushing touchdowns. Again, only threw for 127. I thought the Ravens secondary did a solid job shutting down a very strong passing game with Josh Allen. On the flip side, I thought the Bills did a very good job, a very strong job shutting down Derrick Henry. You keep Derrick Henry to under 100 rushing yards in a game where it's cold and you know the Ravens are going to want to pound the rock. And you got King Henry back there, all 6'3", 250 of them, whatever he is. Holding him to 84 yards on 16 attempts is damn good. You will take that. You'll take that. That is a stat line the Bills can live with if you're wanting to win this game. And they got it done. And hats off to Buffalo. They finally get back, or not finally. I mean, they were just there not too long ago. But hats off to the Bills. They deserve to be here. They're a damn good team. I'm excited to see what they can do. All right, let's move forward. That was our AFC divisional recap. Now let's move over to the NFC. I'm going to take a quick drink of water here. Some good water. All right. The Washington Commanders go into Detroit and beat the Lions 45-31. If you predicted the Commanders to win this game, I want you either to comment on the YouTube or to DM me or to comment on videos I'm going to post about this. I did not see this coming at all. At all. I was still on my buddies. Lions will blow them out of the water. Want to know why? I thought the spot would be too bright. I thought Daniels would not be prepared enough, per se. I thought he hasn't been experienced enough. I thought this team, before diving in, straight to the game, the Washington Commanders reminded me so much. They still do, of the Houston Texans from last season. New head coach, rookie quarterback. Look at that, thumbs up. A whole new system. A whole new system was in place for this team. 2023, they had Ron Rivera, Eric Bieniemy, and Jack Del Rio. No, you can't really win with that core. Bieniemy, gone. Del Rio, gone. I mean, excuse me. Oh my gosh. Rivera, gone. Bring in Dan Quinn. I was questionable about the hire. Turns out, phenomenal hire, right? We'll see down the line. This year, phenomenal hire. I was questionable on it. I didn't mind the Rivera firing. Was questionable on it. Dan Quinn doing his thing. Cliff Kingsbury, a man you had probably forgotten about. USC, Cliff Kingsbury. Cardinals, Cliff Kingsbury. Now Commanders, OC, Cliff Kingsbury. Texas Tech, Cliff Kingsbury. Did I say USC? Is that right? I meant to say Texas Tech. Excuse me. Texas Tech, Arizona, had success, especially from an offensive standpoint. As a head coach, couldn't quite get it done. Goes to Washington, kind of says, prove it. Gets dealt a rookie quarterback. Gets dealt, a really good receiver. But outside of that, nothing, no crazy athletes. Terry is, I think, in my opinion, the top 10 wide receiver. Brian Robinson, nothing crazy. Diami Brown, nothing crazy. He was dealt a hand that was difficult to deal with. And Cliff Kingsbury has done a damn good job over there. Phenomenal job. Also, Joe Witt Jr., their DC, excellent job. And 5 turnovers. He caused 5 turnovers in this game. Real quick, I'll finish my statement. Reminded me so much of the Houston Texans of last year, who won in the first round, goes to the second round, plays a top dog in the AFC, gets smoked. I thought this was the same thing. I thought, here it comes. The magic is over. It's not. It is very much not. And I will raise my hand right now. Some people won't want to show credibility. I'll show credibility. I was wrong. I was flat out wrong. But this team reminded me so much of that team of the Texans from last year. I thought the magic would be over. I was wrong. Let's get into it. Daniels, 22 of 31, 299, 2 touchdowns. Robinson, 15 carries, 77 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brown, 6 receptions, 98 yards. Flip side, Lions, 23 of 40. Goff threw the ball 40 times. 313, 1 tutty, 3 picks from Jared Goff, and a fumble. Throw that in there as well. Actually, don't throw it in there. He might get picked off again. Sorry, Jared. Jahmyr Gibbs, 14 carries, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8 receptions, 137 yards. Take away the picks from Goff. That stat sheet looks pretty damn good for the Lions. First point from this game is just wow. Wow. And in similar fashion to the Ravens game, turnovers. I mean, all season long, you try to limit turnovers to win these games. You go to the playoffs, you can't turn the ball over like this. You can't. And Detroit fans, I don't know if you're cursed. You're not. You didn't play well enough. You cannot turn the ball over 5 times. It can't happen. It just cannot happen. Just like the Buffalo game. It can't happen. Shout out to the Commanders defense. I doubted them. 5 turnovers is truly unbelievable in this game. Let's talk about Jaden Daniels. The poise he showed against a really strong Lions secondary with Branch back there and other guys on the D-line who are experienced. And, you got Dan Campbell overall seeing this team with grit and fight and integrity. Daniels walks into Detroit Ford Field and goes, he acted like he'd been there before. It was unbelievable for me to watch. He has 9 interceptions all year. The rookie, the offensive rookie of the year when it's announced. 9 picks all year. That shows the poise that he has. It shows the experience he has from a super young age. He's only played X amount of games. 9 interceptions all year to walk into Ford Field and drop 299, 2 touchdowns, no picks. You couldn't ask for a better performance from Jaden Daniels. Unbelievable. He got what he wanted. He did what he wanted to do. They had the explosive plays. They had the long drives as well. It was a mixture of both. This wasn't, they put up 45 from 2 pick sixes and, 3 lucky explosive plays. No, it was McLaurin explosive play. It was long drive. It was Robinson. We'll grind you out. We'll pound it in the end zone. They did both. It was unbelievable to watch this team that's so young with such a new organization and franchise and leadership go into Ford Field and knock off, in my opinion, the best team in the NFL. I was blown away by it. Thought this would be like last year's Texans. Got into that already. Down 10 in the fourth. Let's talk about this. Down 10 in the fourth quarter. Like 13 minutes to go, whatever it was. And the Lions, you have a certified great player in Jared Goff, who's led your team all year long. And you get tricky, you get fancy in your own stadium, down 10. Game not on the line, game getting close to being on the line. You put the ball in Jameson Williams' hands to throw, you threw it with your wide receiver, down 10 with 13 to go. I could not believe it. You have the best backfield in the NFL with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and I know Montgomery didn't play great, not a great stat line, probably still a little injured. What are we doing? You have Amon-Ra St. Brown. You have Williams as a passer. You have Gibbs. You have Montgomery. Goff. I understand Goff hadn't played great, but you trust the man who's gotten you there. You don't put the ball to throw into Jameson Williams' hands at that point in the game. You want to do that in the second quarter? Sure. Third quarter? Sure. Do not in the fourth quarter let Jameson Williams down 10, throw the football. I couldn't believe it. I'm still mad about it for them. I'm sure Lions fans are too. I don't get the call there, Ben. Ben, by the way, now in Chicago. Probably talked about that in future episodes. But he seems damn happy to be there, by the way. Real happy to be there. Commanders, after not picking up fourth down to open the game. So, yeah, fourth down to open the game for the Commanders. They go for it. I like the aggressive nature. Taking one out of Campbell's playbook. Don't get it. Okay. I'm sure turning of the tide there at the very start of the game. Okay. That's going to set the tone. Lions are going to own this game. That's what it's going to be like all game for the Detroit Lions, for the Commanders. You want to know what they did next? So, again, first drive, fourth down, didn't get it. What did they do? Field goal. Next drive. Touchdown. Okay. Back-to-back scoring drives. Okay. Next drive. Touchdown. Oh. Okay. 3 straight scoring drives. 2 straight touchdowns. Next drive. What'd they do? I mean, if you're watching live, you know what they did. Touchdown. You're telling me they had 4 straight scoring drives after not getting the fourth down? Field goal, touchdown. Aaron Glenn. I'm not sure what to even make of Aaron Glenn's calling here, performance here. It was bad. It was ugly. It was uncharacteristic. That's the best word I could use here. Unbelievable start from the Commanders after going fourth and downs. Just fantastic from them. Amazing. Are the Lions cursed? I'm looking dead in the camera now. Are the Lions cursed? One of 4 teams that never reached the Super Bowl. They're not cursed. They got outplayed. They got outplayed by a rookie quarterback. They got outplayed by a new head coach. They got outplayed by a new franchise and organization. From top to bottom, they scrapped it. They said, let's go new. And it worked. And it's working. And we'll see what they can do against the Eagles. Damn good win. By far the most impressive win in the playoffs. Detroit. Hutchinson, come back and get healthy. Sign the guys you need to sign. You got big shoes to fill now. OC, gone. DC, gone. Who you going to hire? Disappointment from Detroit. Very disappointed. I know the fans are as well. You scored 31. You think you can maybe win the ball game? Not against Jayden Daniels. You can't. Commanders win 45-31. We move on. This game. All the games were great, by the way. This game. How should I start? We'll start with this. LA Rams going to Philly. They lose 22-28. Eagles get it done. They win by 6. Stafford played phenomenal. 26-44, 324, 2 touchdowns, no picks. That's what you ask for from Matthew Stafford. I mean, that is the guy. That is who you traded for 3-4 years ago. That's what you got him for, his leadership, his ability in these playoffs to know that he's been there. Kyren Williams, 19 carries, 106 yards, solid. Puka, 6 receptions, 97 yards. Where's Cooper Kupp? We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Jalen Hurts, 15 of 20, 128. We'll get to that as well. Does that stat line jump off the page? No. Is it good enough? No. When this stat line pops up, it might be Saquon Barkley, 26 carries, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. You heard me right. 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rushing in the divisional playoff game. Unbelievable performance from Saquon Barkley. Dallas got it, 4 receptions, 56 yards. We'll start right here. My first point that I wrote down here, Barkley, period. Barkley, period. Barkley, period. 3-7, oh my gosh, 3-year, $37 million deal in the offseason. Let's go to his stats real quick on the season. Look at this great graphic. I mean, aren't these awesome? 2024 season, Saquon Barkley has 2,638 total yards and 17 total touchdowns. And the New York Giants said, I'm good. Joe Sheen, I'm good. Dabble, even if you wanted him. Sorry. He stays in your division. And you watch him put up a performance like this. I mean, I'm just kicking myself if I'm they were kicking themselves before the season started. They were kicking themselves when he signed with Philly and stayed in the division. They are now kicking themselves even harder now because Saquon Barkley, dare I say it, is the best running back in the NFL. What about McCaffrey? What about Henry? This man was finally put in a system where he could succeed. And he is not doing just that. He is blowing away expectations. It's crazy to watch. And that's not even the right word I want to use. It's nuts. The numbers this guy's putting up. He is the team for this past game. He was the team. 205 yards and 2 touchdowns. Giants. I just laugh. I laugh at the New York Giants. I'm sorry, but I'm not. It's your own doing. Eagles. Saquon Barkley. What an animal. Just what an animal. Rams defense really played well outside of one play. Not 2 plays. So, Barkley had 2 really explosive plays. I believe one for 67, one for 75, whatever it was. And you don't expect one, but you could be okay with one of those. If you're a Rams fan, you're watching the game, Barkley breaks one off. Long gain. Okay. That's who he is. That is the best running back in the NFL. That is Saquon Barkley as you know him. Another one, you're thinking, crap. You can't have both of them happen. You can have one big-time explosive play from Barkley, giving up 2 like that, same game. It can't happen. So I thought the Rams defense overall did the job that was good enough to maybe win. I really do. It was 1 play too less, 1 play too little. 1 explosive play away from really potentially pulling this upset off. Overall, I thought the Rams defense did fine, though. I mean, Hurts with 128, nothing else. We'll talk about Hurts. Rams second half drive chart, though, their offense, the numbers are, good, not great by their offense, but Rams second half drive chart, punt, field goal, punt, fumble, punt. I'm going to restate that one more time. Punt, field goal, punt. Then what they do? Fumble. What they do again? Fumble. What they do? Punt. Reminds me of the Ravens. Back-to-back drives with a turnover. And who won the game? Not that team. Not that team. Touchdown after that punt and then downs to end the game. They almost did it too. Just like the Ravens. They almost did it. Similar fashions here. Almost did it. End of the game on downs. Started out how to drive. Jalen Carter. Let's talk about him real quick. 2 sacks, 2 pass deflections. Clutch. 2023 draft class, 9th pick overall out of Georgia. Had some interesting storylines coming out of Georgia. Definition for him, clutch. Made a big-time sack, made some big-time plays in this game. He was everywhere. No answer by the Rams. For him, Jared Verse, on the other hand, for the Rams, Eagles didn't have much of an answer for him, and he is hated in the city of Philly. If you don't know, he said, I hate Philly fans. They hate me. Whatever. He's not a fan of them. Taunting pregame a little bit. Goes out there and gets 2 sacks himself. 4 total tackles. He played well. Played great. And usually villains like that, when they go out and say stuff like that, don't play well. He played well. It was Carter versus Verse on the defensive side of the ball. They battled. Eagles pulled off by 6. Cooper Kupp, where are you? He's not on my stat sheet if you're watching. Nakua led with 97 yards. Where is the Cooper Kupp we know and love? 60 yards from you, buddy. Ain't going to cut it in the playoffs. I understand. Nakua's fantastic as well. There's competition. It will not cut it in the playoffs, Cooper. The Rams need you back to full strength. The Rams need you to be prime Cooper Kupp. And maybe that is past, which is sad. But in this game, they needed you. And I'm not saying you played poorly. I'm just saying the old Cooper Kupp, I miss it. And I'm sure other fans do too. We need you to get more than 60 yards in a playoff game like this. He's too talented. Needs to be more involved. He needed to be more involved, in my personal opinion. We'll see what his offseason looks like. He said he's going to play. He doesn't know for who. We'll see what he does. But that's a big question mark for the Rams moving to the offseason. Does he come back? We'll see. Can Jalen Hurts play well enough for the Eagles to reach the Super Bowl? 2 touchdowns versus Packers. 0 touchdowns in this game. He didn't have to do squat. Like I said, Saquon Barkley put the game on his back. He did his thing. We'll see with Hurts. We'll talk about it here in a sec as well. Eagles win 28-22. And there you have it, the NFC and AFC divisional round talk. Quick sip of water. We move on. Thank you again for everybody tuning in, everybody going to listen and watch. Appreciate you so much. All right, here we go. Here are the lines in the preview for this coming weekend championship games. We got Commanders at Eagles. Eagles, 2 o'clock Central kickoff. Philly -6, over under 47.5. Buffalo Bills, tale as old as time. Traveling to Kansas City to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, 5:30 Central Time. Kansas City -2, over under 47.5. Let's start with the Commanders versus Eagles game. I'll take one more sip of water. I'm trying to get my voice back, people. This is not helping, but it's worth it. Here's my biggest question for the Commanders-Eagles game. Can Saquon Barkley run the ball like it seems he should? Saw earlier today in the gym watching, Get Up? Commanders giving up like 160 yards rushing on the season or in the playoffs, whatever it was. Barkley's rushing line is like 131 rushing yards or something like that. I think that's like the highest ever in a game or in a playoff game. Something nuts. Can he run the ball like everybody expects him to run the ball? Can he take over like he did against the Rams? Can Jalen Hurts play quote unquote poorly and the Eagles still win because of Saquon Barkley? You look back at the Lions game with the Commanders, and Jahmyr Gibbs had a great game. He played well, but they caused a lot of turnovers, and they made Goff feel the pressure. Can they do that to Hurts here? Can Hurts play well enough in this game to live up to the expectations of the season, to not lose to a rookie, to not lose to a new, quote, franchise? Can he do it? Can the Commanders stack the box and Jalen Hurts win the game? I think that's what we're going to have to see. They're not going to let Saquon Barkley beat him. They're going to try. Let me rephrase. Try to not let Saquon Barkley beat him. He still may. He's one of the best players in the NFL. He still might. I just know the Commanders' game plan is if Hurts wants to beat us, if he wants to go out there and beat us with his arm, by all means, we'll let him beat us that way. He can do it. Can he do it in this game? Can he do it when it matters most? That's the biggest question for me in this game. We'll have to see. Again, that Washington run defense is not great. Barkley may have the field day that he wants. But if they stack the box, Hurts better be able to step up and not just through the run game. He can move. Can he throw? in this game against a relatively good Commanders secondary. They got Mike Sansfield back there. They got Marshawn Lattimore back there. Can Jalen Hurts get it done? Injury report. Dallas Goedert ankle injury, TBD. It's a big one to monitor before the game. Hurts was limited. He'll play. We'll see how much that affects his scrambling ability. Cosme. Oh, such a blow for the Commanders. Offensive guard Tim Cosme, torn ACL, out for the rest of the season, obviously. Big blow here for the Commanders. Let's see how that affects the Eagles' pass rush. Let's see what which side Jalen Carter lines up on, who the other guys, where they line up on. Massive blow that could affect this game tremendously for Jaden Daniels and that offensive line. Bobby Wagner, Daron Payne, questionable as well. Must monitor for them. Veteran presence on the defensive side of the ball for the Commanders. We will see what they are, or if they're able to go. Hopefully they are. Again, those are the injuries to watch out for. Goddard especially. We already mentioned, can Washington defense fluster Hurts like they did Goff? Can they cause the fumbles? Can they cause the turnovers? Can they cause the picks? That from Hurts, that is the storyline for this game, in my personal opinion. We will see. I think they may. But I'll give you my prediction here in a second. We know what Washington will do. They're going to leave it to Daniels. They will leave it to the best player on their team. They'll leave it to the rookie stud. They will leave it to Jaden Daniels to get this win. They'll rely on him, as they should. They've done it all year. Keep trusting in him. Can they sustain long drives? That's my question for the offense. Against Detroit, like I mentioned, they had explosives. Yes. But they also had long drives. They had, I believe, a 13-play drive, a 10-play drive, whatever it was. They were booming through the air. They were busting you on the ground. Can they sustain long drives in this weather? Can they do it? No roof over the head. And it's Washington. It gets cold. It's a different breed. It's a different environment. NFC Championship, going to be cold as hell, I'm sure. I need to see them sustain long drives. Got to happen. Control the clock. Do your thing. If they can sustain a long drive, Daniels will do his thing. And they may win it. That's my question for them. Can they sustain long drives? Eagles against the Rams, by the way, made them punt or turn over fast most of the game. Yeah, absolutely. The Eagles defense, for a majority of the game, it was quick. It was punt, forced by the Eagles on the Rams. Punt, turnover. It was fast. The Rams didn't have a ton of long drives. At the end of the game, couldn't get it done. One more good drive. Outside of that, it was quick. Can the Commanders sustain the long drives? We'll see. I think that what might make or break the game, along with Hurts' arm. We'll see. My prediction, I think the Eagles win. I think the Eagles are going on to the Super Bowl. I cannot believe I'm even saying that because I really thought it was going to be the Lions this year. I think the Eagles win, and I think the Commanders cover. So I think the Eagles win by no more than 5. I got Eagles 31, Commanders 27. That is my prediction for you. And we'll just have to see how it goes. Daniels versus Hurts, prime time, NFC Championship. It's going to be a good one. Buckle up. I got the Eagles taking it. All right. Let's look at the Bills. Bills at Chiefs. We'll keep this one relatively quick. Can the Bills beat the Chiefs for the second time this season? Week 11, they beat them 30-21. I'm sure most of us remember that game, or at least parts of that game in Buffalo. Tremendous atmosphere. I mean, Buffalo is just so awesome. Can the Bills do it again? Because to me, the Chiefs have one loss. Because that last game of the season does not count because they did not play any of their starters. Can the Bills do it again? Part of me says yes. Part of me says they're on the road in a tough environment with the refs on whose side? I'm not even going to say it. You know it. Can they beat them twice in one season? It's hard to beat any team twice in one season. Now go on the road and do it again? We'll see. That's the main storyline here for me. Last time they played, Mahomes, 2 interceptions. Allen, 2 total touchdowns. James Cook, 2 touchdowns. No fumbles by either team. Relatively clean game on both sides. Mainly from the Bills. Mahomes, two picks. Very uncharacteristic. Allen. Josh Allen, can you do it? Can you defeat the Goliath? Can you knock off the back-to-back champs at their home in the cold? Cold doesn't affect you, but it's cold. Nighttime. Trip to the Super Bowl on the line. Can you do it? We're going to have to wait and see. I think they can. To me, the key for the Bills, need turnover again. Need more turnovers. Baltimore, you saw it, needs turnovers. First game against the Chiefs, saw turnovers. Need to see it from the Buffalo Bills. I need to see at least one pick. And Mahomes doesn't throw picks in the playoffs. Yet alone be the regular season. He just doesn't do it. Mahomes in 6 AFC Championship games, 1,756 pass yards, 15 passing touchdowns, 2 picks. That is Mahomes' career stats in the AFC Championship game. 15-2 ratio. Can they pick off Mahomes? It's going to be necessary. They're going to need it, I think, to win. Let's see if they can do it. We all know what this comes down to, though, overall. 2 things. Josh Allen and the refs. Can Josh do it twice in 1 year? I hope so. Travis Kelce's stat line for Sunday. Playoff Kelsey's a different breed. We talked about this earlier. I expect him to get what he wants again. Kelce in the playoffs, different animal, different breed of human. I think he'll get what he wants again. This is what Travis Kelce does. Can the Bills limit him? Can the Chiefs make him open like they have 24/7 in every playoff game, it seems? That's another key. Turnovers for the Bills. Can Kelce get what he wants? If he does, probably the Chiefs win it again. I already told you about Mahomes' stats. Not just because I want to see it. And here's my prediction. I think the Bills win outright. I really do. I think the Bills are the better team. I think their offense is more talented this year. Keyword, talented. Mahomes is the best quarterback on the planet, but the Bills' offense is clicking more than I see the Chiefs' offense clicking. I think the Bills can do it. I really do, and I think they will. I take the Buffalo Bills here. I got 27-23 Bills. They move on to the Super Bowl. My Super Bowl right now is Eagles-Bills in New Orleans. We'll see if that comes true. So, with that being said, we're going to Swanks Banks. We'll wrap it up here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening again. Swanks Banks, love this. I just love this graphic. It's so fun to make. I got Eagles money line minus 275. I got them taking the win. I got Commanders +6. I think Eagles win, Commanders cover. Not a lot of room there. I think it can be done, and I think they do it. I got Bills winning outright. Absolutely outright at Kansas City. I think they move on to Super Bowl. I got the over as well in the Commanders-Eagles game. Over 47.5. Again, I think Eagles win that 31-27. And those are Swanks Banks is my best bets of the weekend. If you're a betting person, if you're not, just fun to put it up there and take a look at the lines as well. All right. To wrap things off, got to talk about this. This is how I end the show. It's been a great show. Thank you for everybody for listening and watching. TikToker, I don't know, is that his username? I had to throw this in there. The type of fans to call holding on the other team all offense and completely ignore it for their team. He commented this on my reaction video when I was watching my Texans play and celebrating touchdowns and good plays. He's calling me a type of fan to call holding on the other team, all offense, then completely ignore it for their team. I comment, not a real fan if I'm not doing this. What are your thoughts here? To me, you're not a real fan if you're not doing this. If you are not in love with your team to where, of course, your holding calls are not holding calls and the holding calls on the other team should be called all the time. Yeah, I'm going to say that. You should be thinking the same thing if you love your team as much as I do. If I'm watching my team play, we get a holding call. I'm saying, no, not a hold. But a bunch of other plays when we're on defense and I see, let's say, example, the Chiefs holding, heck yeah, I'm complaining. Real fans complain about that type of stuff. At least they should, in my opinion. But hey, to me, a real fan complains like that. Maybe you don't, and that's great. Kudos to you. I'm going to complain because I'm a real fan. I'm a real fan like that. I think real fandom is shown in moments like that. That is what I think. All right, what a show. What a show. That was a phenomenal show. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, for watching and listening. We'll be back for a Super Bowl episode special. Again, follow me on all accounts. Subscribe to the YouTube at The Swank Tank. Follow me on TikTok, The Swank Tank. Find us everywhere. It's going to be on Spotify, YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, The Swank Tank. You can find me everywhere. Find us everywhere. I appreciate everybody for tuning in so much. Appreciate our live listeners. We'll be back. Again, so proud and excited to be starting this show. It's different. It's unique. I want to be a young NFL personality doing something different than just a podcast. I want it to be a show. I want it to be fun. So thank you to everybody for tuning in and listening. We will be back for a Super Bowl episode. Go follow all the socials, and everybody have a blessed and safe football and championship weekend. Have a good one.